Hey, Nick Darr here with Business Over a Brew. Pleased to shoot this episode at the Old Bakery Beer Company here in Alton. As a lot of you know, the location where we used to shoot the show, Great Rivers Tap and Grill, decided to close down as businesses do sometimes, and kind of left us scrambling a little bit, looking for a location to shoot our next episode. And on very short notice, we called Lauren at Old Bakery here, and she was immediately said, "Sure, come down and shoot it." So just very generous of them to let us use the space on such short notice to shoot the show here. It's a really terrific business. They really run a great place here at Old Bakery. And it's a good fit for our show too, because they're a great business and obviously they serve brew and make it here. So it's a terrific place to have it. If you haven't had lunch here or dinner, I highly recommend you do that. The food is terrific. The beer selection is great bourbon selection as well. So it's just a great place to hang out in a historic building here in Alton. So come check out Old Bakery Beer. And thanks again to Lauren and everybody for letting us have the show here at Old Bakery in Alton. Welcome to Business Over a Brew. I'm your host, Nick Darr. This is a show where we talk business with some of the Riverbend's most interesting and influential business owners. Pleased to be joined today by a longtime business in the Riverbend, Mike Edwards and Brett Edwards from King and Bush Air Conditioning and Heating. Mike, tell us a little bit about the business and how it got started and just a little bit of brief history of it.
Yeah, sure. King Air Conditioning was started by Jared King in 1974. My wife and I, Karen, purchased it in 91, September of 1991. We've had it ever since. Bush, it started out, Terry and Joel Bush started that in 1988, and Karen and I purchased that in 2009, in November 2009. So, and Joelyn's working for us. She's one of our office personnel as far as that, and so far so good. Everything's been going very, very well. We grow every year.
How did you get into the industry in the first place?
I was always real kind of mechanical with my hands and everything, like fixing things and that. And to be honest with you, I had a drafting teacher tell me that I really need to look in something sort of like mechanic-wise and that. And I got thinking, but you know, hey, everybody needs air conditioning. Everybody's going to need heating. Right. It's something that's always going to be a call for as far as that. So I decided to do that, and it's worked out very well, very well.
And Brett, how did you first get involved in the business?
Nepotism.
Sure, yeah, that's how it works,
so,
right? Yeah.
Child labor laws were broke,
Yeah.
And I started out about younger summers. I was interested in what the guys were doing. Always wanted to hear the stories when they came back to the shop. So eventually, it kind of came time to where I said, "Hey, I prodded them enough. Let me go. So I started out as a runner. Go get this, go get that.
Right.
And things kind of escalated from there, if you will.
I always tell my kids, I said, you can file all you want for child labor laws, but I don't know where you're going to live.
Family members, not against the law. You work as much as you want.
Pretty sure they looked into it.
Right. I mean, go ahead. I mean,
Yeah.
if you like living here, though, then it might not work out so well for you. Just talk about, man, it's been, I hate to start with COVID with everybody, but it's been such a impactful thing in the business. And take us back to that moment of just uncertainty but then how you came out of it, because probably in the long run, maybe it's been a good thing.
Well, I'll be honest with you. When it first started happening, they started talking about people being real susceptible to it and everything. We had a couple of workers that were a little older in age. One of them had a little bit of a breathing problem. We were kind of worried about them, and so we were kind of telling them, "Hey, this is the time if you want to take off now. We'll bring you back once all this ends and that." And the funny thing, because we thought just business was going to go right on down, slow up quite a bit and everything.
Right.
To be honest with you, the opposite happened. It just exploded as far as that. And be honest, it sounds kind of morbid and bad and everything, but it's a fact. Business just exploded in them 3 years or so.
Right.
As far as they're both in the residential and the commercial side.
So you were mechanical, but that doesn't always translate into being a good business owner. What made you? Was there a moment when you were maybe working for somebody else and thought, I could run this place? Or
No, it's probably stupidity plays a big
sure,
part.
Yeah, tell me about it.
But no, it really, to be honest with you, I really didn't. It's kind of bad to say now, but I mean, I kind of laugh about it now. But the business side of it, you really don't even think about. I mean, you're just, I can fix that better than everybody. I can make this fabricate sheet metal better than anybody, and I might as well do this on my own as far as that for myself. Then you start getting into it, and then you start noticing, I'm not making as much money as I thought I was. And I was pretty lucky. My wife and I met one of our distributors Had a gentleman working for them that he just come up one day and asked me, "Hey, is there anything I can help you with in that?" And I just told him, I said, "Hey, I can fix anything. I can make anything sheet metal. I'm dumb as a rock when it comes to business wise." And he says, "Well, I'll get with you once a week, and I'll teach you some business sense in that." And that went a long way, and it helped quite a bit as far as that. So, because I can honestly say I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for him.
So was your wife Karen on board from the get-go?
No, it's about the first say year or two, kind of part-time a little bit, and then as we started growing, she became full-time in the business and that. And like I said, it's about the third year in or so.
In terms of percentages, Brett, you've been involved in the business more than your dad. What do you remember about growing up, just kind of the child of business owners?
Exciting.
Yeah, exciting. Okay.
A bit lean at
You're
times.
worried about that quite
Yeah,
a bit.
that's never a dull moment,
Right. Yeah.
You'll find that when you work with family, you'll say things to family that you would never say to anybody else you ever work with, and it gets you have to kind of draw lines, and you've got to learn, you've got to understand that every day you're working with people that you love, you care about, and that you need to make sure that you treat them with respect and make sure that everything is done above board, and that's kind of the best way to manage it all. Otherwise, it kind of gets a little bit hairy. But yeah.
Was there ever a time when you were thinking I might do something else, or is this
Always.
like
I mean, really,
even right now? Huh?
Yeah. I went to college, got a degree, and I never really anticipated going in.
Right.
To this full time. When I was younger, people always ask us, "Are you going to go into the business?" I would say, "No." And then I got my degree, started looking around, and thought, I don't really like what I got my degree in, and I actually really kind of like fixing stuff, and I kind of really like working with the guys, and I actually enjoyed what I did more than any of the college stuff that I was interested in. So that's kind of when I thought, well, maybe I'll go to trade school at nights and play this out a little bit, and here we are. So.
Well, that's encouraging for somebody that has kids that want nothing to do with it right now in terms of maybe taking over our business someday. So maybe there's hope at the end. What's been some of the biggest challenges for you guys in the last, say, 5 to 10 years? Other than COVID.
Well, same thing as what everybody's nowadays is forced with is, trying to find help, good quality help.
Yeah.
That's one of I'd say it's probably one of our biggest issues.
Skilled labor, that's very, very competitive. The marketplace for skilled labor right now.
That is huge. That's been our biggest hurdle, probably.
So,
yeah.
Yes.
And I guess along those lines, the supply chain issues, I guess, have maybe been a little bit of.
Initially when the COVID first hit and everything, probably a few months into it, it kind of was. That's kind of subsided quite a bit the last year and a half or so. As far that we really haven't had that big of an issue. Now, granted, we've had some things that we've had a hard time getting in, but for the most part, most everything we're getting pretty good schedule as far as that.
From just a physical standpoint, where did the business start? Or you remember like the first locations, things like that?
Man alive. From what I was told, as far as Jerry King, because Jerry was deceased when I took over.
Right.
As far as that, Jerry, his business started somewhere I heard over on Central Avenue in Alton, and then he basically moved it over to Pearl Street. We had there 401 Pearl Street for a long time, and then in Godfrey there. And about 9 years ago, Karen and I purchased the old Ingram Concrete building, and we brought both businesses into there. As far as that, about 9 years ago. So
last time you were here, you told a little bit of the story about just getting that building ready to go. Tell us that story.
That was, the building had sit for approximately 3 years unoccupied. We went in there, and we basically added on probably double the size of the office easy, as far as more than double the size of the office space as far as there. But they did, they made vaults and different concrete items in that. Well, they epoxy those vaults. Well, there was so much epoxy on the floor and that, and him and I, we took a grinder and we ground for probably about 2 days, up and down, just to make the floor smooth and put the floor down for the office area and that. But it was quite a challenge in that in there. But looking back on it, I'd probably never do it again. But
worked out well though.
Worked out well then, yeah.
Weren't you supposed to take Karen somewhere on a trip?
Yeah, we were supposed to. Our 30th anniversary. We were supposed to go to Alaska, do the land and sea thing in Alaska, the train and cruise thing to Alaska, and that. And I purchased the old Ingram Concrete building and told her, well, it's not going to be this year. We're going to have to reschedule that and there because I wanted to be in the building. We did that in February, and I wanted to be in by July and that. So we kind of push it off. So we figure 40 years is a good year. We got about a year and a half left.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, we can make it.
Brett, for you, what's been the most rewarding aspect of working there?
Honestly, as of late, working with family. I recently had a son, and being able to bring him around, it's so nice, to be able to spend a little bit of time with him. The wife can bring him in. Grandma loves to see him. Grandpa loves to see him. Yeah. And it's. I was kind of sitting back reflecting, man, this is really cool. I'm really happy that I stuck all this out. The family aspect, definitely.
I've heard from some people that being a grandparent softens you a little bit. Has that been the case?
Certainly. Yeah, without a doubt. It's an unrecognizable person.
Hey, grandkids are great. If you could skip that son thing and go right straight to the grandson, that's awesome.
Right.
But I guess without them, it's not possible. So.
Right, I guess not.
Yeah.
So, what's been the most challenging aspect of it for you?
I think going back to what Dad was talking about, just that competitiveness for labor in our marketplace, in our workforce right now. So making sure that you're getting good people, making sure those people are sticking around. And we've made some changes along the way, and I think we're doing a lot better at that now than we had in the past.
Are you guys able to separate it when you go home and not talk about business? I mean, I know you're not together all the time, but at the Thanksgiving table, is that what's getting talked about? Or
That
I think there's always aspects of it that come up, but I think by and large now we're better at it than we were.
I hate saying this, but I think the guys are better at it than the girls. The girls don't separate; the guys pretty much do. As far as that.
Sure.
We've had one of our office girls say we'd make a lot more money doing a reality TV show out of there instead of heating and cooling. But I mean, with family and everything, a lot of stuff happens.
Lies.
Right. Some of that's good and healthy, though. I
Yeah,
think.
it is.
It's just I think there's probably some things that get said because you are working with family that wouldn't get said that maybe need to get said.
Well, I was talking to my wife the other day, and I said, it's odd to me that there's these estranged families. I said, anything that can be said in our family has already been said, and we're not estranged or anything along those lines. So it's almost like, that just closeness ties you together and kind of makes a greater bond.
Sure. Mike, you guys have had unbelievable growth in your business. What do you think have been the key factors to realizing that growth?
I guess the big thing for us is we like treating people like we want to be treated. As far as that, we're an honest company. We're not the cheapest out there by any means whatsoever, but we offer a very good product for the price that you pay. And I think as long as you're honest with people, up front with them, try to steer them in the right direction, where they're not necessarily. Everybody says replace. Well, there's a lot of instances where you don't need to replace. And, why should you when you don't have to? So, I mean, I think a lot of that, just being honest with the customer and treating them the way you want to be treated goes a long way, to be honest with you.
And you guys do so much for the community. Just talk a little bit about that community involvement. I know you're always donating to various charities and talk about where that part of the business came from.
Yeah, my sister. I mean, to extend on his point, you get the right people in the right positions. Pretty incredible things can happen. And we've got a bunch of really good people in positions, and they're doing really good things. And my sister Kylie, my little sister Kylie, is definitely a proponent of that. She's taken on and kind of spearheaded, making sure there's a charity a month that we're donating money to. She's always looking for some sort of opportunity to give back to the community. We all think that's very important, and she's definitely taken it under her wing and done a great job with that.
Yeah. What do you guys like to do when you're away from the business?
Well, I don't know.
You ever get away from it?
I don't get away. I know a couple of things. I'm big into trap shooting now. As far as that, and I've got a Harley, and I like to ride, take trips on that. And we both like to hunt and that. So like big bow hunters and that. So, I mean, I've got quite a few things that keep me busy as far as that. So. Wish I had more time doing it, but.
And Bray, you've got a 2-month-old, so
I had a lot more hobbies as before. Prior to that, now my wife.
Hobbies are done.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah, he said bow hunting. I haven't sat in the woods yet this year, so that's pretty well my focus now.
Where do you see the business going in the next 5 years?
Well, we want to continue to do what we've been doing. We want to grow, but we don't want to sacrifice quality by any means to do so. So we just want to make sure that we get the best people that we can in, make sure they're treating people fairly, make sure we're treating them fairly, and making sure that if we do grow, it's under the right conditions and for the right cause.
Mike?
The same thing. Is I just want to, and the big thing about it to me is I love our community. I love where we're at, our area. I think it's an awesome place to live and to raise somebody, grow up. And then I just think you just got to give back. I mean, the people are giving to us. We have to give back to the community and that. And like Brett said, the growth part of it, I want to see us get bigger, but I don't want to sacrifice quality as far as I want to keep the good service going. I want to keep our installs going good. I just want to make sure that people are being satisfied with the product that we're giving them as far as, and it'll take care of itself.
It's a really exciting time too with all the technology that's out there, and it's hard to keep up with all of it. But if you can, and you bring that to your community and you bring it to your customers, and you kind of educate them on what's out there, it's kind of a neat secondary or ancillary aspect to it.
Talk a little bit about that technology aspect of it and what that means for today's homeowner.
I mean, there's efficiencies that can be, you can get equipment with higher efficiencies. There's greater comfort, aspects to things as well. So there's all sorts of things that can be gotten into. I don't know if I have time to get into it right now.
Sure.
But yeah, there's a lot of things out there. There's a lot of help from utility companies that can be had as far as if you want to increase the efficiency of your system. And typically with that increased efficiency comes increased comfort. So,
we've talked to a lot of people, not just on this show, but outside of this show, especially in the trades that have mentioned the same problems you guys have mentioned is, boy, where do you find people? And are there any things you guys see that could be or should be done to help get more people into the trades? Because I think something changed a long time ago where we started saying everybody's got to go to college, and they're maybe probably missing out on some really good employment opportunity. College is not for everybody.
It's not. I mean, college really wasn't. I did very well in school and everything, but college just wasn't for me. I wanted to get out of high school. I wanted to start making money as far as that. And I really think, I think a lot of it is changing because, like you were saying, I think it was pushing college. And again, just like you said, college isn't for everybody. But I mean, people don't understand in the trades, you can make a very good living working in the trades. And I really think the schools have a lot of people have realized that within the last couple of years. I think there's a couple more years we have to go before we start seeing a bigger flux coming into the trade part from the age of kids and that. But I think it's in the right direction as far as they're doing more toward the trades and that.
Yeah. I think generationally maybe there was more pressure to go out and earn. A few generations ago, and I wonder how many kids, maybe myself included, went to college because they thought it'd be a good time. Yeah. And it was. But I didn't really care that much about what I was going to earn. I mean, there was no real sense of urgency. I didn't have a mortgage payment or anything like that.
Yeah.
Whereas, my dad, he had to get a job right away and he had to start earning. Yeah, right. Exactly. So that might be part of it, and I think another piece of it is just educating kids that, hey, this is a pretty good path here.
Yeah. It is. I mean, they make very, very good living. Plumbers, heating, cooling guys. I mean, and it is nothing like you were talking about what the advancements and everything as far as that. The things that these air conditioners furnaces do now are amazing, and our techs, we've got certain models out there, they walk up with an iPad and it automatically connects up with the air conditioner and gives us all the readings. That's what gauges on it or anything.
Right,
I'm 60 years old. That just blows my mind as far as that. So, and I mean, before when I was starting out, if you were pretty good with your hands, you're going to make a pretty good tech.
Right.
Now you've got to be a good mechanic and just about a computer programmer to be able to get in there and work on this stuff the proper way and that.
The skill set needed has evolved a little bit.
Exactly.
Over time.
But the benefit of being able to go out, earn quite a good living right away, and not have a bunch of student loan debt that you're worried about.
Well, and job security too. I mean, you're going to have job security if you're good in the trades. You're going to have work.
Right. Sure. For both of you, question for both of you: what's one piece of advice you would give to somebody thinking about starting a business right now?
Be accountable for your actions and adaptive. I kind of think that if you're an accountable person and you persevere, you're going to succeed in business. That's kind of, I guess, my little secret I tell myself every morning when I'm thinking that, oh man, what am I doing today? When I'm driving home and I go, oh man, what was that today?
Sure.
So, just keep trucking and be accountable for your actions, learn from your mistakes, and
yeah, because you're going to make some.
You're going to make them. Yeah, I mean, I've made. If we were to talk about all my mistakes, we'd be here a lot longer.
Mine too. Mike,
pretty much the advice I give is, be honest with the customer, tell them the truth as far as that. And also, like we were talking about earlier, find out as much information you can about the business side of it. Because that's a lot of guys that are awesome techs, awesome tinners, but they have no business skills. I mean, I was lucky. I was extremely lucky with the amount of business knowledge I had, that I survived as far as that. So I think that's a big key thing.
I think for some that, and I kind of got lucky in this regard because I wanted to, for a long time I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I thought my bosses didn't know anything and I could do a better job running the shop than they could. But I got lucky that it got delayed for me. Like I wasn't able to jump into it as quickly as I would have liked. And man, if I would have had to, it would have been a disaster, because I've learned so much from so many people over the years. So I would just say be patient with it is another piece of advice. Like it might, just like college isn't for everybody, you know, entrepreneurship isn't for everybody either.
No, it's not.
It's a tough road to hoe. I mean,
that is, starting out is awful. I mean, I'm just being honest. Starting out is awful.
Yeah.
As far as that, and the more knowledge you get, the better it gets. A little bit easier it gets.
There's something too about you. You have these dreams and aspirations. You think it's going to be one way, like it's going to be, gosh, being a business owner. I see all these business owners that are on the other side. And it's like, well, that looks great. What you don't see is the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it, though, right?
Exactly.
So, well, I appreciate you guys coming on so much. If people wanted to find out more information about you guys, where can they do that?
KingAirCONDheating.com or bush-refrigeration.com.
Anything that we missed? Anything you guys want to add to it?
No, I think we covered everything pretty well, in my opinion. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you.